Good afternoon. You're listening to My Conscious Dad right here on your hometown station, AM 1220 KHTS. I'm your host, Jasmine Urbina, here in the studio with my dad and co-host, Alex Urbina, along with a very special guest that I'm going to go ahead and let you introduce.
Yeah, today we have Terry Lynn joining us. Terry Lynn, thanks for being here. I appreciate you taking the time.
Absolutely.
So I met Terry Lynn probably about maybe 5 years ago or so, and it was up in the mountains at a ropes course where you facilitated this very powerful process in team building and a part of a team that I was happened to be a part of, and it was just a profound experience. And that was the moment, I probably never told you this, but that was the moment that I fell in love with you, and I realized that you have something special in your eyes, and I can see it and I can feel it, and we connected, and you know, just we're cut from the same cloth, and we live our lives to be in service. And you're gonna be a special contribution to my book, and I want to thank you in advance for being that for me and for the world. You decided to take on and tackle the chapter called Authenticity.
Yes, absolutely. And I think the mirroring, Alex, that we have, when you said it's in my eyes, it's in your eyes too.
Absolutely.
And we're real. And I think that takes a lot of courage to really be authentic and to be a real person. And that's why I jumped right on that area of your book. Again, a long searching in my own personal life to get to be that kind of person, not only for myself, but also for others.
You know, for me, I think the first moment that I realized that I was inauthentic was in a training room. I was 23 years old, and I got to experience some experiential exercises that gave me permission to really look at myself deeply.
Yes.
And when I saw how inauthentic I was and arrogant and self-righteous and egotistical, I broke down into tears.
Yes.
Because that something that my spirit was saying, that's not who you are. That was the little voice that was telling me that, and hence started the journey to discover my authentic self.
Yes, for sure. And I have a great coach, and I love her dearly, and that was my mom. And my mom was taught to be inauthentic, to protect herself. And I so appreciate that a lot of us today, we think that we need to don't bear your dirty linen in public. And I talk about that in your book a little bit. And to cover up, don't cry, don't show that weak point. And so I was taught that, and again, in the training room, to find out that authentically, that's not who I was. It was my biggest struggle. I was never comfortable with myself because I saw a bigger picture. I knew that who I was okay to come out to play. So thank goodness, you know, that I had that opportunity and can pass that forward.
Yeah, and then amongst having that breakthrough of realizing and deciding for myself that I wanted to embark on this journey of discovering my authentic self so that I can live that and just be that authentically for the rest of my life, so that I can be an authentic father and be an authentic husband. And my mission has been to allow myself to just be who I am in all moments. And I hope that, you know, as a father, an authentic father to you, that I, you know, showed you a way to just allow yourself to experience your experience and be freed up to feel what you're feeling.
Yeah, I was going to actually say, when you guys were talking about being in the training room and having that realization where you realize this is not who you really were, and trying to be authentic, I'm very lucky because I never had that kind of realization in my training room because I didn't really need it. I grew up in that authenticity. You know, growing up, my dad was always very open and very loving and very vulnerable, and same with my mom. So both of you guys have always been already authentic, that just by doing it and being it, you taught us. And I my brother, my sister, I think they're pretty authentic too. They're very themselves. I really never really feel like there's a wall or anything. So I think I'm very lucky in the sense that I didn't have to have that breakthrough or anything, because I grew up like that. I already had it. And like you said, your mom, she taught you how to be that way just by having those walls and hiding herself to protect herself. I didn't have that. So I'm very lucky, and I do see it in you as well as my mom.
Jasmine, that is the biggest blessing you ever got, I will tell you. And you are giving me the biggest hope, because I do have she just turned 12. And I question that a lot. how, being a mom, we best teach what we most need to learn. And so I'm always challenging that. And I had the opportunity recently, knowing that I was going to be writing in the book, to interview not only my own daughter, but a lot of other youth her age, and to ask, how do you know to trust? How do you know? How do you know that person is authentic and real? And the feedback, oh my goodness, was so incredible, about just that they really truly listen. That adult, that parent, the leader truly listens to them and holds them in a place that their ideas might be fantastic. That they are a winner. That the message, it doesn't matter what words we use, but the message is you're a winner. So when I asked my daughter carefully the question, is mommy doing a good job in that area? She said yes. And I was nervous, I got to tell you, because that's my biggest thing in my life. She's the joy of my life, and I want to make sure that I'm being in her life the way that your parents, Jasmine, were with you.
Yeah,
so it's awesome.
It's funny because we always say that, parents, they don't understand when their kids are not, up to their expectations. They don't understand why their kids are quote unquote this way.
Yes.
But it's because you're that way as a parent. So if you see your kids reflecting, I guess, being a good kid and being everything you wanted them to be, it's because you can finally come to ease with yourself and know that it's because that's who you are too.
Right.
In your chapter,
yes.
There are so many golden nuggets that I don't even know where to start. So what I did was I started with the one that really resonated in my spirit, and just, as I was reading it, this one section, my knee was shaking. And I want to just read this piece, and I want you to tell me what was coming up for you when you wrote this.
Great.
And the part says, don't spend another second not letting people in so that they don't get to see your magnificence. God has made us all incredible and perfect. And once we begin to embrace that gift that we are to the world, we'll get to come out and we'll play.
Yes.
We can live fully. Viva la vida grande.
Viva la vida grande.
Live life large.
Yes.
Live it big. Live it
Yes.
grand.
Absolutely. And when I think of these words, we don't get today back. That I think about that every morning. Truly, when I get up, we don't get it back. This is it. And so.
And we don't know how many more we have.
No, never. And there is a respect, I have to say, first of all, that I have for life, respect of how I interact in other people's lives. And I just, from what I know and what I do for a living, I would not rip somebody off and look at them in the face and be an inauthentic person taking their time, because it's not just my day, guys, it's everybody's day. And to take that risk of them not seeing my magnificence and what I can bring, but also their own, because I truly do believe we are mirrors of one another. So that is so important to me, and I invite anybody listening to ask yourself, what is in your way possibly that keeps you from saying, you know what? I'm a little scared right now. I'm trying something. Oh, okay. I'm on a radio show today and I'm feeling uncomfortable. And to be able to be authentic and real, just get real about that. Okay, great. I'm going to do it anyways, right? Yay. Atta girl, atta girl. But I think there's so often when we don't have the control of the outcome, the control of the answer, that we all of a sudden go to what we know. And again, in my case, what I was taught, cover up, look good. You got to look good, be pretty, do all those things up front. Don't bear your dirty linen. Don't let them see in. And I really, again, I invite anybody listening to live it fully. Viva la vida grande. It's the only thing I can say in Spanish, but I know what that one means.
I love that. For me, when I think of, being on that journey of finally flipping that switch,
Yes.
I look at it like a faulty switch. I kept flipping it and it would be stuck and it would flip back down.
Yes.
When I kept flipping and flipping and flipping, finally when I flipped lifted up and it's stuck, when I realized and
yes.
finally embraced that I am truly magnificent.
Yes.
In that journey, when I look back to see what were in some of the things that were in the way,
Yes.
one distinctive thing for me was the limiting beliefs that I created about myself
Yes.
as I was growing up, that my unconscious mind, my ego, kept creating these limiting beliefs about myself
Yes.
or about relationships or about the world that was designed to keep me safe. And once I discovered that that game and that process was going on, was one of the biggest eye-opening experiences for me in my life.
Yes, and I truly believe, Alex, that we walk around in life with we don't understand why we're so heavy, so loaded down, like bricks on our back. And it sounds like you got those bricks off, those bricks of things that really weren't true anyways. I think one of the really big one for me, when I would kind of step back into my norm, is that I needed to have a lot of money to be valued, that I needed to be a certain weight to be valued, that without the looks and the money and my pride and my ego, whatever was there, that without that, I wasn't going to have, quote unquote, the good life. I wasn't going to amount to something big or be a winner.
Well, you probably had it attached to being not only valued, but important, significant,
Yes.
powerful,
Yes.
somebody.
Yes.
We think that we have to be a certain way or look a certain way or show up in a certain way to be validated in the world or even accepted.
Yes, absolutely. And we live it, and I know this is, we all know this, but when we really stop and look at what we watch on television, what we hear day in day, when the content of conversation at Starbucks, for instance, about money and about prestige and about this and that, the superficial, to be accepted, and that's the doggone bottom line. We want to be accepted. We don't want to be rejected. We want to feel significant. And it really, people don't care how much money we have. They don't. They don't care really how you look, especially kids. I mean, kids for sure, they'll tell you. And that's the best lessons I've had, is just from coming from the young people. They don't care. And we work so hard and spend so much of our time being inauthentic in the way of wanting that to be what comes into the party. We don't play. We forget to play because we have the bricks on our back.
I think the ego does care how much money you make. Your spirit doesn't.
Yes.
And our teens and our kids, they're more spirit-like. They're more connected to their spirit.
Right.
And they don't care how much money you make or what your title is.
Right.
My kids don't. Growing up, they didn't know. People would come up and go, "Hey, thank you for making the difference in my life and hugging me and all."
Yes.
And my kids are like, "That's just my dad."
That's my dad, right?
They don't care
Right.
anything about status.
Yes.
They just what they care about is do you care about them?
Right.
And can they feel it? Can they experience that
Yes.
from you in an authentic way?
Yes.
I think that's way more important than how much billions of dollars you got in your bank account.
Yeah, absolutely. And I always invite people, and again, this comes up in your book, I invite people to take a moment and the pleasure of going to the park. Just go to the park, close your eyes, and listen. And just really listen with all of who you are. What do you hear? And it's that joy, and it's the simplicity, it's laughter. They did not take the time to interview their friend, their playmate. They're not interested because they really don't care. They just jump right in. And I look at us as adults, and we kind of size it up, we kind of critique it, and then we step in to play. If we get there, if we ever do trust enough to let down that barrier and say, "Hey, guess what? This is who I am. Take me or leave me." So, yeah, for sure. But kids are a perfect example for us. Just let your walls down, get in, and live. Don't miss living.
I love it. So I want to read another piece, and I want to read this to Jasmine and tell me what you think, because this really jumped out at me. People want to know who we are deep inside. They want to know the core of us and how to be in a relationship with us, and that's all that matters. What does that mean to you?
Well, to me, because I agree with that, I believe that when I meet people and start having relationships with them, new friendships, I want to know who they really are, all the stuff at the core. I don't want to know what they do for a living. I don't know what their major is. I do care about those things, but those are just surfacey things. So if I can't get there after a certain amount of time, I usually categorize them as just a friend, not my best friend or one of my
Right.
really good friends, because I haven't gotten there with them, and eventually I could, and it would just take more time and everything. And I keep them as a friend, and I hope they'll become one of my best friends or my really close friends. But the ones who are my really close friends are the people who show that to me and are willing to be honest and willing to be authentic and be themselves. Because, like I said, there's a difference between your friends and your close friends, and those are the kinds of people that you want to be in relationships with, not just friendships, but romantic relationships or even your family relationships.
Right. And it's as important, I think, Jasmine, to the other person. Like, the way I wrote that was purposeful, and that was that they want to know how to be in relationship with us as well. So, we work so hard on how we're going to be, but it's so important. And the trust that you just said, because like you said, after a certain length of time, if they're not letting you in, you know right away. And it's not that we cast them aside, but we're working so hard that they go into a category of someone I know. It is more like somebody I know. It's not that deep, bonded relationship that we are all looking for from young all the way. I mean, let's get real here, to marriages. How often do we hear, "Oh, I just wanted you to be intimate"? Well, God bless our men. What does that mean? Right? What does that mean? I want you to connect. What we're looking for in everything we do is a connection.
Right, the connection. That's. I couldn't get that word out, but that's the one I was thinking of when I was saying that we want to know more. And it's not really about knowing, because we know things about them. We know what they do for a living. Like I said, we know, I guess, who they are, but we don't feel who they are. And once you start feeling who they are, that's when you know, like, this is a bond, this is a friendship that's going to be forever.
And what I hear is, I want to experience you.
Oh, experience you, yes.
That's what I'm hearing.
Yes.
I want to have an experience of Terry Lynn.
Yes.
Who is Terry Lynn?
Yes.
And are you willing to put aside all the show that you're trying to present for me to like you or to be accepted? Just, I want to know who you are. Who are you?
Yes.
And if you don't know who you are, be authentic enough to say, you know what? I don't know.
Right.
I love that when I can ask somebody, do you know who you are? And that in that moment they just kind of get uncomfortable or turn red, and they just say, I don't know. And I let them know it's okay.
Yeah.
It's okay to not know who you are. Maybe that's the starting point.
Yes. I always smile because I'll have a group standing there and they'll be looking at me like, who is this blonde lady in the trees, right? It's like my little tag.
That's because you walk out of the trees. And you're like Mother Earth. Like, oh, where did she come from? She just walked out.
With a rope and a carabiner, right?
Yeah.
But when I say these words is to get naked with the world, to get naked, to just bring who you are 100%, because you figure you start stripping all that stuff off of what we wear and our rings and our this and that. You become this real, just raw, beautiful being, and it's really what we want. If you think about it, when you're behind closed doors, right? Who are you authentically being? When you're singing off key, you're dancing naked in the mirror, whatever we do when no one's looking, that's truly what the world wants. That's where the connection is.
And I think a lot of people don't realize that people are going to see you like that regardless. If you're trying to hide it anyways, we're going to see it. It might just take more time. So you might as well just be like that right off the bat.
Right.
It's obviously way easier said than done, but when it comes down to it, 10 years from now, I'm going to know who you really are.
Yes, for sure. And again, a piece in the book, I refer to how we hide that we have cried or we felt sad or that we're mad. There are times that we're mad and we become passive with that or we try to hide that. And the bottom line is, it was about the kids. I said, the kids already know, guys. You kidding me? Kids don't miss anything. They really don't. And that's what we love about them so much, is that they are willing to still see us. Their filters are not so thick like ours as we age and we move on into life with experiences and history and all that. They have really neat filters, just little teeny ones, and they can still see us.
Right, and they're, like you said, experiencing you being that way, because I could see you doing something, but I could feel you being it differently.
Yes.
It'd be amazing if the kids, after maybe having their own discovery through the transformational trainings and the teen trainings, it'd be cool to see a kid, walk up to their mom and say, "Hey, mom, Dad, just let it go." Or, just show me just
really?
just surrender it already. Let me see you cry. It's okay. It's so imagine your kid giving you permission to be authentic.
Oh my goodness. It is so cool. And again, you, Jasmine, you're so blessed to have been able to see that in your parents. Absolutely. And we work with a lot of sports teams, and I'll tell you where I saw some of this is the coaches will call and they'll say, "Well, we're not going to participate. We're just going to watch them." I said, "So like a fishbowl. So you're going to stand out. Like, we just think about this in life, that like a fishbowl, we're just going to be the spectators, the observers. Well, they're my team. They're my students. I can't step in and let them see me scared on the ropes course. Why not?" Right there. And so what we do, and again, it's a philosophy thing for sure, and no one is forced to do anything, but we highly, highly encourage and invite them to say, "You want to get a new perspective? Take it on. Try it on. Be a participant with your team in this." Oh my gosh, you guys, at the end, when those team members turn around and they look at me and go, "Oh, you're real. Oh my goodness, I had no idea that you would be nervous." It is like a light bulb that goes off for both the coach and for the team that, well, if they can do it, I can do it. Let's do it together.
And that same message is exactly what the teenagers are yearning for from their mom and their dad.
Absolutely.
Oh my God, you have feelings?
Yes.
You're afraid too?
Yes.
And that's what's so powerful about the training. The one component training I do several different components. The most powerful one, I don't think people know about it. It's the actual teen and parent training together.
Lovely.
Because they're experiencing their mom or dad right in front of them break down, open up. It cracks their heart and their context open, and they connect at such a powerful way. It's an experience that you cannot create unless you have a safe environment, loving environment where you're being asked to participate at that level and be able to express themselves like that.
Absolutely. And it's what the parents looking for, and it's what the kids looking for. And it's so crazy how we get this idea that we have to be and look a certain way. And again, I go right back to the beginning of this. Don't miss it. We don't get today back. Have the connection where it is so like you walk into a room and say, "This is my kid, this is my mom, this is my dad," right? And they rock, regardless of our faults. And we all have them, right? Any of that. They're real. They're real people. And that's what's going to be that. We all want it to be like that, right? With my daughter, I know I want to just walk in and say, "Man, that's a daughter and mom team if I've ever seen one." Amen, amen, amen. Yes.
That's we're gonna go on a break right now, but real quick, I want to say that's how I feel when I'm with my dad. I feel that sometimes he's like doing his thing, and I'm just like, "That's my dad."
That's my dad. Oh, awesome!
I can't wait to get more back to it after the break. Stay tuned for more of My Conscious Dad right here on your hometown station, AM 1220 KHTS.